WFM 91.7.
Good morning. Thank you so much for tuning in and, of course, staying with us right here on Women Radio WFM 91.7, Nigeria's first radio station for women and their families. How is your day starting up? How is the new week starting up for you? Today is Monday, the 13th day in the month of November 2023. Like I was saying earlier, newspaper review. This month don't reach me do like this, so okay, so I just hope that we're getting ready. I hope that we're getting ready to end the year on a good note. Okay, so hopefully we get to have the best of this week and the best of the rest of the month. All right, so yes, my name is Rose Yusuf Kaiser. You're welcome to a Panorama where we have ladies from different geopolitical zones coming together to dissect and, of course, talk about issues that we have on ground. And of course, we try to look at these issues and see how we can bring up solutions to it that would affect you and I, and just to make our lives better. All right here on Women Radio WFM 91.7. So that's what we do on Panorama, Mondays through Fridays from 9 to 10 a.m. All right, so thank you so much for joining us today. So we'll bring in our ladies this morning, and we'll get to know how their weekend went. Yeah, so let's start with Buki Femi Ajala. Good morning. How have you been? How's the weekend?
Yeah, I want to thank God. God has been good. The weekend was good. I mean, yeah, it was good. And what else can I say then? Father, I want to thank you. That's just it. It ends there. Thank you.
All right. Thank you too, Buki, for joining us. Ibinabo Dixon, good morning to you. How's your weekend?
Good morning, Rose YK.
Mm-hmm.
Good morning, Buki FA. Good morning to all our valued listeners. Monday is here already. That was my feeling this month. Monday is here already.
Monday don't come.
Really? But I had a beautiful weekend.
Oh.
Actually, I had a bit of fun, very private fun with a friend of mine. We went out after all the, on a particular day. Then the other day we went for what do you say now? Spa, I mean, a sauna, you call her. I mean, a sauna. Like my friend was saying, go do sauna.
That sounds like fun.
Yes, I took care of my body, and yeah. So it felt good. You understand? So I think people should do this once in a while. I know it will eat a bit into your pocket, but then it's worth it. I mean, sometimes you should have a me time.
Yeah.
Where you take care of you, spend money on you, and take care of you. It's always very important, because when you do all this work with your body and you're not taking care of this body, it's not fair. You're not being fair to yourself. You're not even being fair to those who rely on you, who are your dependents. Because if you don't take care of your body, when your body go on stuff like labor,
I mean, I would always say you should take care of your body before your body tells you itself that, come on, just hold up, just hold on first. Let me take some time. Because if your body tells you that by itself, then you're going down for it. So it's just better you do it before it tells you that.
Exactly.
All right, thank you so much, Ibinabo. So on behalf of the Honorable Minister of Happiness, she's unavoidably absent, but she sends her regards to both of you.
Yeah, we are hailing her too.
Thank you. We are celebrating her.
Okay. All right. So, yes, this is Panorama. Do well to join the conversation by dialing 07000 917 917. Send a text or a WhatsApp message to 070 317 56537. All right, so let's start up with our very first story of today, which I think it's definitely worth starting with, because this should be a form of ginger or a form of encouragement, to let you know that maybe what you've gone through, somebody has gone through worse. All right, so it's not the end of the world. You can definitely make something out of your life. I mean, from this particular story. So the video of a comedian and professor, we're talking about Helen Paul. She shared her childhood story, which centers on her being born out of rape. Okay, so I can imagine what her mom had to go through. Some of the emotional turmoil her mom had to go through. Getting raped, carrying that baby for 9 months, giving birth to that baby. How many people were even looking at her? The kind of eyes they were using to look at her and all of that. So she shared all of that in the video that was trending all through the weekend, and it's something I think a lot of people, well, your case might not just be, similar to what Helen Paul has gone through, but maybe you might be going through something else that your own family member will even turn their backs against you. I mean, this is Helen Paul sharing her story, and she told us what some of her aunties, that was people that are supposed to be her first point of call, but we're looking at her with the unfortunate incident that happened to her mom. So they carried that all through, and we're looking at her in that manner, calling her all sort of names, somebody that is not supposed to be part of their family. So the mom made a mistake of keeping her in the first place. Why did the mom even keep her? And then, over to her grandma, who stood by her. I think her grandma was the only person that stood by her, despite all what her aunties, as her mom's sisters, were doing towards her, and, other family members. So that's to show you that sometimes the people you call family might not just be the family that you really think they are, because of a lot of things that you would not expect to hear from them, but you keep hearing. So a lot of times we have been betrayed by our families. A lot of time we have been zeroed out from our families. They don't even want to have anything to do with you. But should that be the end of the world for you? I mean, from being a child born out of rape, for being a child that was not wanted at all, she was able to come up, be a comedian, a successful one at that, and being a professor in the United States of America. I mean, what gets better than that? So you could actually channel all of that energy towards something good. Was it all rosy when she was growing up? No. What did she do with all of that hate that was thrown at her? Did it affect her psychologically? Of course it would, but how did she channel all of that to get to where she is? I mean, it's a video that should actually get to encourage everyone. So this is the first thing I wanted us to talk about this morning, so that it will be in a way encouraging somebody out there that it's not the end for you. It is not the end for you at all. In a world where we have so much hate, in a world where we have a lot of people bringing down others with just mere words, and we think that, oh, I just word now, go reach anywhere, but it actually gets to affect people, and sometimes that actually shapes their thoughts process towards others too. So how do we get to put our lives together? How do we get to leave all of this space and get to achieve much better things? So Ibinabo, let me start with you on the video of Helen Paul that was trending all through the weekend, talking about all what she went through, with her mom and her grandmom, and her aunties too, her family, her mother's family members, all talking down on her and not even wanting her to be part of their family, like kind of not even giving her their own name, their own father's name. So let's get your thoughts on all of this and how this could actually help encourage somebody out there.
Okay, thank you very much, Rose. I actually watched the video over the weekend, and I watched it all through. In fact, I was tempted to repeat it all over again, but I had to do other things. And you see, as I was watching, what first came to my mind was a very bitter truth, and that was, you see, sometimes, unfortunately though, your family could be the created apparatus of discouragement for your aspirations. You know sometimes when outside, when outside beat you where you go, don't come inside,
make inside cover you.
Really cover you. But when it is the woman that's actually beating you, then you have to run outside to get solace. Which was how she lived her life. You see, what I was able to take away a lot of things though. That, when a child is being reared, who is rearing this child? Yes, somebody gave birth to this child. Yes, there was a very particular story surrounding a birth. But who reared this child? Helen Paul was blessed with a grandmother who never stopped talking. When we talk, when parents talk, what do you say? What are you saying? And then when you are talking to your child or your children, when you talk about children, they're children, even identical twins, are never the same all round.
Yeah, sure.
So you see, the way you would talk to twin A is not the exact same way you talk to twin B, because they are different at some point, apart from their physical appearance. There are other differences they had. So you have to understand this child and know how to talk to this child, and let this child understand where you're coming from and why you are talking. You see, the grandma did a lot in the life of this girl. You see, we are Nigerians, and we have three major religion. We have the Christianity, we have the Muslim, Islam, then we have the traditional. And all of these three have one thing in common: they believe there is a God. What am I saying? At some point in the life of Helen Paul, there were some prophecies concerning her, and the grandma held on to it, and she kept on hammering it in the ears of Helen Paul. And that became, at some point, it became her guide. Now, let me bring it back to where there was no prophecy, but you believe that this child of mine must be a great success, a huge success in this Nigeria that we are living in. So what are the words you're speaking to this child? You see, words are very powerful.
They are.
So I was somewhere and someone said, words are God's instrument of creation. That is another thing that nobody will contest it. Of these three religions, there's a common agreement that yes, God created this world by speaking things into existence. Now, another one says, a closed mouth is a closed destiny. So the grandma spoke a lot to Molly. You realize that if you listen to her all through her commission in the at that conference or the program, she mentioned her grandma almost 1 million times, because her world was built around this grandma. Now imagine a child world built around someone who does not have time for this child. How do you think this child will turn out? A child world built around a very careless parent. It will only take the grace of God for this child to turn out well. So you see, parents, we have a lot to do. When you are talking to your child, what are you telling this child? Do you understand the temperament of this child? Do you understand the level of, how this child would listen, understand, and interpret what you are saying? Helen Paul was trained to understand and be able to interpret words spoken to her. And that is one of the things that molded her into what she is today. Because it's not every day you see a child born in such a community where, like you said, the people around her, the uncles are like, oh, what is wrong with you? When she did that, I understood what she was trying to say. When you grew up in the midst of drug dealers, in the midst of people who are into various, very, very scary activities, but you were able to make a lemonade out of the lemon.
Out of the lemons.
Is important. Parents, be mindful of what you say to your children. Family members, this child is not great herself. She was a product of rape. At least they should have had at least some measure of compassion for her. She didn't. It's not her fault that she was a product of rape. But people made it their business to rub it all over her, to frustrate her with all of that. But thank God she had a grandma who would always, as they are rubbing it on her, she is cleaning it off.
Mm-hmm.
And that is what parents should do. As a child, your child will not always be in there with you. There will come a time this child will go to school. This child would have to mingle with other children from different backgrounds. This child would, be sent on errands, and things will be called at this child. How do you erase all of this and replace it with words that are encouraging, words that are going to, help this child to be a better person? It's important. I looked at Helen and I realized that words, just as words were God's instrument of creation, our grandmother's words were huge instruments that molded her into who she is today. That is why you see she kept on calling. She didn't condemn her mom because for being a product of rape, her mother was a very young girl. So what did she understand? Society, I beg, men in our business. If you cannot add into somebody's life positively, please keep your negativity to yourself. Because Helen was a strong child. Some other children would have committed suicide. Some other children would have turned to something else, maybe a drug addict. They would have become a burden on the grandma.
Sure.
So you see, there are so many things I took away from there. And she was determined. She wasn't looking at the journey, she was looking at her destination.
Yes.
And that is something very huge for any human being, whether you're a child, whether you're an adult, whoever you are. Don't look at the process, look at the end product. Let the end product be your encouragement. If the process is tedious, she was looking at the destination and not at the process or the journey, because the journey was quite rough. She was encouraged by where she knew that she was going, and she never let go. And that should be an encouragement for everybody. Irrespective of how the economy is so harsh. Don't give up. Don't give up on yourself. Look at your future is bright. Don't let go of your bright future. So whatever the journey is, whether it is dark, it is rough, just know that your future is bright and don't let it go. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Binabo, for giving us your take on this morning. To be a part of Panorama, please do well to dial 07000 917 917. Send us a text or a WhatsApp message to 070 317 56537. All right, let's get your thoughts and, of course, your reactions to any of the stories we are taking this morning on the program Panorama. This is 25 minutes after 9, and this is Women Radio WFM 91.7. My name is Rose Yusuf Kaiser, and I have Buki Femi Ajala and Ibinabo Dixon with me on the program this morning. All right, Buki, let's come to you with the same story of Helen Paul and how she became, Helen Paul. Let's look at it from the women angle. Now, she said so many things about how her aunts, her mother's sisters were not kind to her at all. They would come, give her grandmother money to use for herself, and they would warn the grandmother not to give anything at all to Helen, to make sure that Helen does not get any part of that money. They're giving her the money for drugs, they're giving her the money, they're giving the grandma money to get things for herself, and none of that one kobo should be used for Helen, because apparently she's an unwanted child from the case of rape. I don't even want to use the name they actually used to identify her with in the family. That's coming from her aunt, and these were women. So how far, because at the end of the day, it's just in our nature, as women to be. God has made us natural, not nurturers. Okay, so how are we supposed to relate this? Because the same grandmother, who is also a woman, decided to take care of her, but her own aunties, who are still women, decided not to, even mind her or give her that attention that she needed as a little child or as a baby. The grandma would tell her, hey, your auntie don't come. Your aunties don't come. Now people where you supposed to call blood be that, so see what they tell you. I hope say you self they hear. So you self, suppose turn out the way they talk. Make you better make you better be better person. And she turned out to do well. She turned out to be well. So let's talk about how some of these hates can actually come from women to children that we are supposed to look out for, not minding the circumstances surrounding their birth. They are children, they're innocent children. So let's talk about that for a minute. Buki.
Okay, thank you. So to put things in proper perspective, it was not even the grandmother, it was the great grandmother.
Oh.
Yes, it was the great grandmother. Yeah, people will think it was the grandmother, but go back and listen again. I mean, it was the great grandmother.
Yeah, it was the great grandmother, yes.
Sure.
Yeah, it was the great grandmother, yeah. And that tells me something. Why I actually pointed that out was this next point I want to make, that obviously it was they had issues in their lineage, and I don't know, maybe there was a grandmother in the picture, maybe she wasn't alive or she was alive, I don't know. And then of course nobody wanted, and they had to take her to an old woman. Obviously, that person must have been an old woman as a great grandmother. But let's celebrate her, because I know that when Helen was making the money, she will never forget that great grandmother. And I believe that grandmother understood what life is. That yes, this child might be a child of rape, but that does not mean she cannot be great. So that grandmother, great grandmother, must have seen the future in Ellen Paul. And that was why she was always going back to say, that's so life be. The person that will be celebrated must be great. So putting in the seeds of greatness into her. You cannot choose your path, but you can choose your future. I repeat, you cannot choose your past. You can't even choose your parents. You can choose your future by the choices we all make. And that was what the great-grandmother was telling, because she has seen it all. She has seen it all. She must have seen children from good parents, wealthy parents that turned out bad, and she must have seen the opposite. And she wanted to make her that. And I believe God backed up. Because you see, your journey in life has been marked by God. That's the truth. Now, Professor Helen can stand up on the stage and tell her story. She has told her story, and she is only saying this, that, hey, I don't know where you are, but this is my story, and your story can be the same. I read some of the comments. Somebody was actually saying that, why she's saying this is toxic. And people shouted, social media, you trust them, that it is you that you're even toxic. Is it peppering you? Maybe you are part of the lineage of the aunties, But then somebody said that, you know what? I will also share my story one day. She's still going through the process. Helen went through the process. Now she's healed. And then she can say it. And that's why we say, somebody was even telling, and I know she will actually do her film. Yeah. Someone was actually saying that she should just do her film and because generations to come. But back to your question, women, I don't know why we are doing this, but I think it's getting better. In those days, let's cast our mind back. It wasn't a thing of the pride. For you to be labeled as a bastard. Even when you are brought home, your father did this thing outside and brought the child home. The way the stain will be, bastard child and all that. But it's getting better now because we all know that even some bastard children are even better than the children that are not bastard by the choices. And even the pain they go through, they turn the pain into gain, which was what Helen did. So we want to advise we women. When you talk, when Abba mentioned that your words could be life and could be death, I even want to be descriptive. Are your words like you are in a demolition site? You want to destroy this person? Or are your words like you are in a construction site to build up that person? And that was what that woman did. And some of the lessons that I want us to hold on to, number one, she mentioned it, that the great-grandmother said, you don't have anybody, it's only God. And that was what saw her through. She had to stay with God. And secondly, she had a positive mindset. There are two mindsets. It's either fixed or it's growth. In our own case, she chose the growth mindset. That yes, I might be a product of rape. My auntie does not like me, but that does not mean that I cannot improve myself. And that was what was propelling her. That she even had about 4 master's degree, go back to PhD, And look at all the things that she had done, even in the world of entertainment. And she was very quick. God helped her. And that's what we always say to young people. Understand who you are, understand your assignment or not. That is your passion. She was able to pick that up by the books she was reading. You understand? By the books she was reading. You understand? And then, of course, her background also shaped things, She became streetwise. You understand? She became streetwise. But she used it positively. That is what I want people to say. She used it positively. And of course, finally, she developed herself. Many a times you will see people, instead of them to push on, to see the other side and say, look, it is either you want to grow or you don't want to grow. You can decide to still stay there that after all, I'm a product of rape. After all, my family does not like me. After all, I didn't have a name. I didn't have a mother. I didn't have a father, and all. After all, but she decided that yes, true, these things are real, but they should not define me. Okay, I'm sure in the books that she was reading, because she mentioned Abolished and all that, you must have said, oh, these people are great people. They must have inspired her. And then of course, somebody glued to entertainment, to whatever, she must have seen that. So what am I saying in wrapping up? I do not know who we are talking to. I don't know who is listening to us, but you cannot change your parents. You don't have a choice in your parents, rather, but you can define your future by the choices you make. Turn those negative energy of yours to positive things, right? And see you successful. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Buki. Thank you so much for giving us your thoughts and your advice, on what happened to Helen, because I feel like anybody that's gone through this video will definitely get something to take home. Well, except if you don't seem to relate with whatever she has gone through, but at some point in our lives, I'm sure that there's something to take home from this video. All right, so this is Women Radio WFM 91.7, 25 minutes to 10 right here, and this is the program Panorama, where we have women from different geopolitical zones coming together to talk about different issues. All right, so you can dial the number 07000 917 917. Let's get to hear your thoughts. Let's get to hear your reactions on the stories we are taking this morning. All right, send me a text or a WhatsApp message to 070 317 56537. Those are the numbers to get in touch with us this morning. All right, so we'll just leave it at that on the story of Helen Paul, comedian, and of course Professor Helen Paul. Let me add that because she has definitely earned it. All right, knowing from where she's coming from, she has definitely earned it, and she's turned out to be, I mean, I can just imagine what those aunties or those who looked down on her or those who said negative stuff about her, I can just imagine what their faces are like right now. Are they even reaching out? Do they even have the mind to reach out right now? Okay,
Rose, sorry to cut you in.
Yes, please go ahead.
Why they always say that, don't pray that your enemy will die.
I'm telling you, honestly.
Want them to be alive. Pray that they will be alive. Because if God is fighting for you, when you are successful, they will see you. Now, those aunties or their children, they must have had stories. I'm sure some of them would not be begging. In fact, in my mind, I'm imagining that I hope somewhere that the man that raped the mother will be able to say, I hope this is not my child. Guilty conscience. But men, please, don't do what is not right. Thank you.
Don't. Biko, don't. Please don't. All right. So thank you so much, Buki, for adding that on the story. So we'll just leave it at that on this. I'm just hoping that this has encouraged a woman out there who thinks that, all hope is lost. There's nowhere for me to turn to. Everybody has, pushed you one side and you think that's the end of it. No, you can definitely make something out for yourself. Just find the encouragement within and go on and do things and achieve things for yourself. All right, so we'll leave it at that. Let's look on to the next story we have here this morning, and this is about punishment that goes on in schools, especially secondary schools. Now, let's say secondary schools, and let's put boarding schools also, because this happens a lot in boarding schools. Now, I, for one, went through a boarding school, and this actually happened to me. But I don't know whether maybe it's me that do not have it in me, or maybe it's just that I chose not to do that. But I would not say I sat down and made a decision not to punish other students. But it's probably I didn't see it as something necessary. I didn't see it as something for you to get what you want out of your junior student. Anyway, this story is on Bobby, the comedian. He was speaking, at a particular event, and he was talking about how students are being empowered to punish other students, and he's saying that should be abolished, because that kind of breeds abuse at the end of the day. So you have students who are junior ones and you have senior students. Now all of you are in the same school, but for some reason you find an SS1 student or an SS2 student punishing a junior student, or even a JS3 student punishing a JS1 student just because they are the senior. So you get to call them, tell them to do things for you. If they don't do it, you get to punish them or you beat them, just because you're trying to prove that you're their senior, you've gone, you're ahead of them. Now, instead of you to actually guide them through that school, but instead you are the one giving the punishment. Now, this could go from JS2 to JS1, or SS1 to JS3, or SS3 to SS2 or SS1. So it just depends on the class right now. But at the end of the day, if you're a junior student, you shall know that there's somebody up there who can actually punish you for maybe not doing things right, or maybe doing things too right. Because at the end of the day, it's more like, oh, you want to show yourself, Abi? Oh yeah, come, I'll help you cut those things. So, and this has been going on in schools, secondary schools to be precise. We have the seniority playing out there. You have the, I can punish you because I'm your senior. So, and then that just goes on year in, year out. So because they did it to me when I was a junior, when I become a senior, I would want to do that also to my juniors. So I had lots of while I was in school, I had lots of juniors who would say, they'll tell their mom, no, they're not coming up because of one particular senior, because of one particular senior, they're not going, and that could instill fear instead of in a learning environment. Okay, so what's the way forward with this? Because in some secondary schools to date, this is still happening. While I know that it has been reduced to, to an extent, or rather, maybe because I left secondary school, I just felt that, that's that kind of punishment is not necessary, or that kind of trend should not even be existing in the first place. But I still feel like it still happens a lot in some secondary schools, especially boarding schools. So where do we go from here, or what do we do? Mabuke, let's start with you on this. What's your thoughts on this generally?
Okay, I think it depends on how you use, the opportunity that was given to you. I mean, like somebody who has a knife, you can either use it positively or you use it negatively. I also went to boarding school, and a lot of us also went to boarding school, but we didn't turn out to be somebody who decided to be a tyrannist person and all that. So that's why I think it depends on what you make out of it. And he's a comedian, so he has been able to package it in a way that it looks funny. But let's be honest, are there some truths in what he has said? Absolutely yes. Because when I listened to it, I was able to put 2 and 2 together to say, okay, some must have taken those traits from there. And it's true. Because if you enjoyed it in your molding stage, you will also want to have it when you get to the secondary school. You'll also want to have it when you get to the university. And then when you even move out, into your career life, you will always want to be that person who wants people to just be bowing and all that. Yeah, it's possible, but I believe it starts from what you choose when you are in the secondary school. You understand? Because a lot of people were seniors and they were not oppressors even after. So it depends on how you want to use that privilege that you have been given. And one can actually say, because when seniors punish, it is because the juniors did not do what the senior has asked them to do. Fetch water, do this, whatever, and then you are doing bugas and you are not going to do it. Obviously, I mean, the senior will punish you for that. But we know some people that out of just envy or out of just, the fact that I know your father is one powerful man or one rich person, you're instead of you bringing 2 dozens of biscuits, you brought 4 biscuits, so you think you are rich and all that. Some would want to oppress. And I think those are the kinds of people, I mean, this actually is talking to that. Even if you have that, you can actually begin to discipline yourself, because it will trail you, even when you become even a husband, because as far as you are concerned, it has been part of your pleasure. Your happy hormones are always there. When you oppress somebody, when you threaten somebody, when you intimidate somebody, your happy hormones. So you will continue to do that. So it's an issue of when such happens in the secondary school or in the junior school, where the teachers should be able to control such, because I think that is where such should be curtailed. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Buki, for giving us your thoughts on this morning. All right, 07000 917 917 is the number to call. Send a text or a WhatsApp message to 070 317 56537. All right, it's about 15 minutes to 10. Ibinabo, let's hear your thoughts on this particular issue.
Okay, thank you very much. When let's take a look at the secondary school. These are children coming from different backgrounds. Bobby's children are there. Helen's children will be there. Buki's children will be there. Ibinabo's children, Rose's children, they're all there. And definitely they're not coming from the same background. They may have a common ground, but they're not coming from the exact same background.
Yeah.
So you see, in all of this, there's nothing there. I like Buki said, to an extent, I agreed with him, because you see, there are some children coming from a background where they were bullied You know, a victim of a bully sometimes, when he or she gets a place where he or she has a capacity or the authority to bully another person, they are worse. They become worse. So you see, I was never in a boarding school, and my parents never allowed it because of issues like this. Because my sister was in a boarding school before they had to change her to day school, so I wasn't even allowed to be in a boarding school at all. You see, there is nothing wrong when your senior had to put you right because your senior had the experience. But at what point do they draw this line? Nobody tells them. The teachers do not tell the students, and the students do not even know. All they know is that I'm a senior and I can do whatever I want.
Whatever I want.
Which is very wrong. And I feel that is the point that Bobby was trying to look into. Because, you see, I think Bookie mentioned fetch water. I called a friend of mine, he was in a boarding school. And he said, when he was in the primary school at home, I mean, he didn't have to go far to fetch water. But when he got into the secondary school, as a junior student, the seniors were sending him all over the place. Go and fetch water for me. I want to have my bath. He said as he was dropping the water for that senior, and that senior will call on him, go and iron my clothes. And you have to go to school too. So the stress was taking its toll on him. But when he was on holidays and he got back home, he was different. Psychologically, he was battered. And that was after the first school year, his parents had to change him from to another school. So you see, we have the pros and the cons of, giving authority to the students. The school I attended, everybody had big man picking. So it was like more like, it was an all-girls school. So it was more like big sister. Only a handful of students fell into this category that I just described, and they were put to check by the teachers. So you see, as much as it is not bad to allow the older students to show the newer students the way around school, and then make them to do one or two things, but you don't transfer all your chores to these students. We didn't come to school to come and serve you. And that is what happens in most boarding houses, boarding schools. The seniors are always all relaxed, well seated, sitting pretty, and they will be sending the junior students all over the place. And the teachers are busy with other things, so they wouldn't even know. And the junior students are always so scared to report. So you see, there has to be a balance. In everything that we do in life, there has to be a balance. In as much as you give a measure of authority to the senior students, they should be monitored so they don't go out of whatever it is they are doing and become a frustration to that student. I could recall when I just got into my senior secondary, I wasn't in my first year in senior secondary class. They made me a prefect, and normally it was usually prefects were picked from the more senior classes.
Yeah.
But because my classroom was very close to a junior class floor, and new students, the way they make us and everything, so they just came to the class. Our class teacher came and just picked like 4 of us that we should oversee each of the classrooms, and that was how that was my first thing of being a senior, because I was nobody bullied me when I was a junior. Nobody put my life hell on earth. So the same way I treated these students in this class. They were like my friends. The only thing I had to tell them was, if you make, I was brought up to make if you make noise, I will submit your names to so person. And that teacher left her. So that was just it. But to now start sending students messages and all of that. Send them messages or send them on an errand with a lot of love. Hello, please, could you please go to my class and please do this for me? And when they come back, they say, tell them thank you. And they even want you to even be their school mother because of how well you interact with them. So in some schools, the way the seniors bully the juniors is not funny.
It's not funny at all. It's not.
It's not funny. They don't get to iron their clothes. They don't get to wash their uniform. They don't get to fetch their own water. And they would share the whatever food item that the junior, brought to school. So you see, all of these things could really be devastating for the new students. So I think Bobby was coming from that angle. Some people, they are power drunk. This thing is innate. Some children are power drunk. So when they begin to go back to secondary school, they carry that same mindset to the university.
Okay.
And they realize that here, there is no space here. They look for how they can still continue their lifestyle. And the way they can do that is probably to be a part of one group or the other. You understand? So to an extent, Bobby is right, but there has to be a balance.
It has to be.
Somebody has to be a higher person who's going to show you give you directions. It doesn't mean the person should bully you. There's a difference between trying to put me right, show me the right way, and in comparison to bullying me around, turning me to your school help or to your whatever. There has to be a balance, and all the ball is at the table of the school authority, the school management.
Okay.
You don't just put children to oversee their fellow children without tutoring them. You talk to them every now and then. They go to my school. They gather all the prefects and they talk to them. They advise them, and it is interactive. It needs to be interactive with them. The students will talk about their own problem, and then the teachers will tell them how best to go about it. That's how we did it, and it was fun, and I liked it. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Ibinabo, for giving us your take on that this morning. Because going through this particular video too, when I went through the comments, I saw a number of people who said they would never forget one particular senior, that wherever she is, let them. In fact, they even mentioned her name. So I don't even know whether the lady is on Instagram or not, but they actually mentioned the person's name, and they were saying, this person, it will not be well with you, the way you punished me in secondary school and all of that. So you could actually see that even outside that environment, people still take this thing home. So it's something that gets to affect a lot of people even after the secondary school. So I just hope that school authorities take this seriously and do something about it. All right, so this is where we'll draw the curtains for today on the program this morning on Panorama. So Ibinabo, thank you so much for coming on today on Panorama.
Thank you for having me.
All right, Buki, thank you so much too for taking our time to be a part of Panorama today.
Thank you for having us. Thank you. Let's have a beautiful day. Thank you.
Thank you too. Have a great day ahead. All right, so that's the much we can take on Panorama this morning. Join us again tomorrow, where we will have ladies from different geopolitical zones discuss and dissect on topical issues. Okay, my name is Rose Yusuf K. So do what to keep it locked right here on Women Radio WFM 91.7. At 10, we'll have Radio Doctor. At 11, SME Math. And at 12, of course, we'll have the news at 12. And at 12:05, we'll have the big question. Do what to stay tuned to Women Radio WFM 91.7. Good morning.
To sponsor this program, call the number 0816 480 7613.
WFM 91.7.